Hello all you beautiful people, my name is Hexen, bringing you another TAA Tribes Ascent Analysis commentary. If you could not discern by that clip and the title of the video, we are playing as the Doombringer today, occupying the role of Heavy on Flag on the map Sunstar. Now I will come right out and say that this is my absolute favorite role to play in this game. Once I unlocked the Doombringer and started to get the hang of him, it just felt like I had found my role, my class that I love to play. It just clicked with me, and I've been playing with them ever since. I also want to tell you guys that the video playing in the background is from a match that was absolutely insane. There was so much content, I had to cut so much out. But real quick, if anyone says that the saber launcher is useless, look at that shit right there. That was unbelievable. I did not expect to get that kill. He did drop the flag, he did return it, and he did not get the capture. I will admit the saber's uses are few and far between, but it does come in handy every once in a while. So let's say you want to play as the Doombringer. There's a couple things I want to talk to you about right off the bat. One, do not unlock the heavy bolt launcher and use the heavy bolt launcher. It is near useless in my opinion. You might use it for a couple niche playstyles, but if you're trying to play heavy on flag, you want the chain gun. For the chain gun, the most important piece of advice I can give you is to lead your targets. Now there's a couple ways you can do this effectively. The way I use is to gauge the distance between the enemy and your black reticle on the center of the screen. I measure in centimeters and millimeters, and I try to extend or decrease the distance between my opponent based on my movement speed, his movement speed, and the distance between me and him. Alternatively, you can actually use the projectiles as your aiming device. Look at the bullets instead of the black reticle and follow the tracer trails of your rounds as they come out of your weapon. I found a lot of people use this method. I personally don't do this. I use the reticle, but it's completely up to you. It's whatever you're the most comfortable with. It is a bit more work, admittedly, to use the reticle-based method, just because you have to take more distances into account and you have to get a feel for the weapon. Generally speaking, you can get a pretty decent feel for the chain gun in about an hour or two. To master it, it'll take a little bit longer. I'd recommend giving yourself at least, 6 to 8 hours with it. But if you're pretty proficient as an FPS player, it shouldn't be that hard to pick up on how it's used, the projectile speed, the hitbox, how to lead your targets. So 6 to 8 hours and you should be a near beast with this weapon. So moving back to the actual strategy, if you want to play the heavy on flag on this map, you do not want to be doing what I'm doing right now, which is jumping all over the place and off of the flag stand. I have a bit of an excuse because I have a partner on the stand right now who is also a heavy, who is fulfilling the same role as I am, and he's doing a pretty damn good job of it, which affords me the opportunity to jump off the stand, hunt down shellers, and hunt down harassers. Also, I want to tell you guys that we will not be getting into the loadout screen today. There was so much content in this match. I wanted to show as much as possible. This game was pretty intense, so we do not have time to go into the loadout screen, but I will talk about the perks that I have right now, the perks that you should also equip if you're trying to play this role. One, absolutely essential, super heavy. You don't want anything else. You want super heavy to increase your mass so it's harder to be knocked off of the flag. Number two, you want safety third, maxed out of course. This will give you an extra mine and an extra mine that you can lay down on the field. Now you initially only have 3 and you can only have 3 down at any single time. With safety third maxed out completely, you can have that 4th mine down on the field, and it is really important and it benefits you a lot. You get another great saber kill right here. I see this guy flying way up into the air, whip out my saber, lock on, and fire. And that's another cool thing about the saber. Even though it's very situational, you don't have to spend a lot of time with it. You can pull it out, lock on, and fire, and then move on to the next available target or the next greatest threat. Also, as the HoF, you should be dropping supply stations constantly. They should be up 24/7. They're only 2,000 credits. If you're playing your role effectively, you should have no problem affording them. But with that in mind, you don't want to be putting them in stupid locations either. Anywhere in the front of the flag stand or in the midfield with plain line of sight, they're going to get blown up and they're going to be useless. You want to find a nice area that's protected, that is behind a piece of terrain or behind the flag stand, that is not easily harassed by the enemy. On this particular map, I found that that little nook that you saw me drop it into in the back of the flag stand to be one of the most effective. I've seen them stay up almost entire games in this location before. If you can find a closer position that allows you to jump off and jump back onto the stand really quickly, right there, just got a comment. That's why you want super heavy equipped. I was laying down mines, just minding my business, and one of the runners was making a crisscross run across our flag stand, picked up the flag, and I just happened to walk in front of him, and he splatted in the back of me, and I grabbed the kill. Perfect, perfect, perfect. You want super heavy equipped, no ifs, ands, or buts. Moving back to the supply station though, you want to make sure that they're in positions that limit your time off of the flag stand. You want them to be close to the flag so you can hop off, resupply, and hop back on in about 5 seconds. That's generally the time that you should allow yourself to be off of the flag stand, especially if you're the only one on the stand. Now, if you have somebody else on there sharing your role, you can put them a little bit farther away. You can sacrifice the distance for a more secure location, but generally you want to pick a nice balance between what is secure out of line of sight and the proximity to the flag stand itself. With that in mind, I want to move on to why you even want your supply station available to you in the first place, your mines and your force fields. On this particular map, where you're placing them down is going to be pretty standard. There's not a lot of combinations that you can do, except when you run out of one or the other. In a perfect world, you want the setup where there's one force field on either side of the stand, on top of either ramp, and you want your mines right next to them to occupy the space in between your force field and the static force field of the flag stand itself. With that little tidbit in mind, it brings me to another specific pointer that I can apply to this map, and that is, as the HoF, you should always be aware of the status of your generator, because it powers that force field that surrounds your flag. If this goes down, it is your responsibility to annoy the piss out of your technicians by spamming the VGS command. You want them to know that you need the generator back up to power that force field, or else you're going to start losing flags. On this map especially, it is so easy to bombard the flag stand. If your force field goes down, it affords the enemy team ample opportunities to bombard. You can do it from that center tower, you can do it from either side of the flag stand. If it goes down, you're pretty much screwed as a HoF. So now I kind of want to get into an overall macro analysis of the heavy on flag as the Doombringer. You're more than likely going to get called names if you're playing this role effectively, especially because a lot of people think that it doesn't take a lot of skill to play. The chain gun is really beastly in the hands of an awesome player. But this piece of gameplay footage that's going on in the background really shows you just how hectic it can be playing as this position on any map. If the team has any sort of competent offense, you are going to be moving around constantly. You're going to be jumping off, resupplying, laying down mines, laying down force fields, and it's hectic. It's a lot of work, and it's definitely not easy. Several times in this game, there are moments where I can't even breathe. You jump off the stand, get resupplied, get back up on the stand, put down force fields and mines. One of your mines blows up. You move to pick up that guy's pack. Then you have to target the runner that's coming in. You pick up his energy pack, put down the mine that you got from that pack in the place where it blew up before. And these are all things that you have to be aware of. You have to be aware of the enemy attack paths. You have to be aware of the flag runner's paths, and that's essential as a Doombringer as well, to be aware of the most popular paths that flag runners are taking. You want to be spamming your spot key to be able to spot them from a distance and get set up for when they start to approach. With all that in mind, I just gotta say that there is so much to talk about when it comes to the HoF and heavy on flag and defending, especially when it comes to strategies on specific maps. This game was absolutely insane, and we came back. Flag 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we got the win. Thanks for watching. My name is Hexen. Be sure to like and subscribe.